Have you ever looked at the sky and felt something more? Not just clouds drifting, not just thunder rolling, but a whisper, as if the heavens themselves were alive, breathing, waiting. Tonight, I'll take you into a story carried by the winds. It begins in a quiet village, where fields stretched endlessly. Life there was simple, guided by sunrise and starlight. But the sky above often held secrets. Strange storms appeared without warning, glowing silver across the horizon. While others hid indoors, one boy always watched. His name was Zeus, not the god of thunder you may know from myths. This Zeus was human, curious, restless, searching. He felt storms before they came, as if the sky spoke only to him. The villagers called him Skybreaker, a name whispered with wonder, and sometimes with fear. Zeus did not yet understand what it meant, but his journey was about to begin. A journey that would take him beyond the clouds, into the very heart of the skies. Have you ever noticed how some nights carry a silence that feels alive? Not the silence of emptiness, but one filled with hidden voices. If you listen closely, it feels as if the world is breathing, waiting. In Zeus's little village, silence was rare. The wind often danced through the fields, brushing against tall grass. Children's laughter echoed near the riverbanks. At night, crickets sang their endless songs. But sometimes, the nights felt different. The villagers called them sky nights. Stars shone brighter, yet the air grew restless. Clouds gathered suddenly, twisting into strange shapes, and the wind carried whispers. Most said it was nothing but tricks of the air, but Zeus knew better. For him, the whispers were real. They came as fragments of forgotten songs, soft, fleeting words only he could hear. They spoke of journeys, of storms, of light beyond the horizon. At night, he sat by his window. The candle burned low, but he stayed awake. Tilting his head, he listened to the sky. The whispers filled his heart with wonder. He felt he was standing at the edge of something vast. When he tried to tell others, they laughed. "Just the wind, child," they said. But Zeus knew the sky was speaking to him. One night, the whispers grew stronger. A storm approached, unlike any before. The clouds glowed silver, alive with hidden light. No thunder, no rain, only ripples of brightness. Barefoot, Zeus ran into the fields. The air buzzed with strange energy. And then, a voice spoke clearly through the wind. "Skybreaker." The word echoed inside his chest. He whispered it back, breath trembling. "Skybreaker." A streak of silver light fell from the clouds. It landed near the old oak tree. Zeus ran toward it, guided by instinct. Half buried in the earth was a shard. It was not stone, not metal, something otherworldly. It glowed softly, humming like a song half remembered. When Zeus touched it, the hum grew stronger. The shard felt warm, almost alive, as if it knew him. He held it close, trembling in wonder. The whispers quieted, then returned gently. From that night, nothing was the same. Zeus began to sense storms before they arrived. He warned farmers, told children when to stay inside, and he was right, almost every time. Some villagers trusted him. Others whispered that he was unnatural, but Zeus felt no fear. Instead, he felt connected like a door had opened. He began to dream of the skies, dreams of walking among clouds, dreams of floating islands above the world, dreams of beings made of light, speaking in thunder. Each morning he woke holding the shard. It pulsed in his hands like a heartbeat. The whispers had chosen him. He knew his life would not remain in the village. The skies had called his name, and one day he would answer fully. For now, he was still just a boy listening to the night. But already, the first chapter of his journey had begun. A journey written in wind, in light, and in whispers. The legend of the Skybreaker was taking its first breath. Stories often grow around people before they grow into themselves. In the village, whispers about Zeus spread like wind through tall grass. To most, he was only a boy, barefoot and untamed. His eyes looked upward when others kept theirs on the soil. But to some, he already seemed different. Zeus carried storms within him, though not in anger or fury. It was in the way his presence shifted the air. Children swore breezes stirred when he walked by. Farmers noticed birds fell silent near him, as if listening. Yet to Zeus, life still felt ordinary. He carried water from the well with his mother. He ran across the fields with the other boys. He sat by the fire at night, listening to tales of heroes. But always, there was the sky. He lingered outside when others went home. Moonlight painted his face. Stars lit his eyes. The villagers began to call him Skybreaker. The name stuck, though Zeus never knew why. He had broken nothing. He was quiet, gentle, even shy. But when storms rolled in, people looked toward Zeus, as if expecting him to answer the thunder. One morning, he sat beneath the old oak tree. The shard rested in his palm, glowing faintly. It was cool, alive, like a star held in his hand. He whispered, "Why me?" The shard pulsed as if it understood. His mother, Elara, noticed changes in him. She saw him slip away at night, eyes brighter when he returned. She saw him walk toward storms, not away. One evening, lightning flickered on the horizon. "Zeus," she asked, "do you hear something in the winds?" "Yes," he said quietly. They whisper. Elara held his gaze. Your name was not given lightly. Her words stayed with him. At school, children teased him for staring at the sky. But when he warned of storms, he was right. The laughter grew softer. Respect began to replace the teasing. The village elder watched Zeus closely. One afternoon he said, "Your ears hear more than most. Do not fear the gift." "I don't understand it," Zeus admitted. "You will," the elder promised. "In time, the sky teaches those who listen." That night, Zeus lay awake, shard on his chest. The whispers rose again, soft but insistent. They called him by name. Not just Skybreaker, but Zeus. Not the god of myth, but the boy, the listener, the dreamer. And with each whisper, he felt prepared. Prepared for something waiting beyond, like the stillness before a storm. Zeus was no longer just another child of the village. He was a promise, alive but unspoken. A bridge between earth and sky. The winds already knew. The Skybreaker was awakening. There are moments when the world feels like it is holding its breath. The fields grow still, the air thickens, and even the birds fall silent. On such a night, the first sign came. Zeus had been restless all day. The shard in his pocket hummed faintly, waiting for something. Each time he touched it, a shiver ran through him. The sky looked ordinary at first, soft blue fading into dusk. But as the sun slipped lower, strange clouds began to gather. They shimmered silver, like mist lit from within. The villagers noticed. Children tugged at their mothers, pointing upward. Farmers paused in their work, staring at the sky. The air was uneasy, though not threatening. Zeus stood apart, eyes fixed above. The shard hummed louder, steady, insistent. It was as if crystal and clouds spoke with one voice. No thunder came, no rain fell. Only silent light spread across the heavens. Waves of silver rippled, painting the night sky. The villagers murmured, uneasy. Some spoke of omens, others of danger. But Zeus felt something else entirely. The light was not a warning. It was a call. The shard pulsed hot against his palm. Almost without thinking, Zeus began to walk. He moved toward the old oak tree at the field's edge. Each step felt guided, pulled by the earth itself. When he reached the tree, the clouds shifted. A single thread of silver light stretched downward. Not lightning, something gentler, more deliberate. It touched the ground before him. The world held still. The air rang like a bell, though no sound was made. The shard shone bright in his hand, and then he heard it. Skybreaker. The word echoed in his chest and bones. Zeus dropped to his knees, trembling. His heart raced, but fear never came. Only certainty. This was meant to be. The villagers followed at a distance. They saw the silver glow surrounding him. Gasps rose among them, half awe, half dread. But none came closer. The light slowly faded. The clouds unraveled back into darkness. Silence returned. Zeus sat beneath the oak, breathing hard. The shard dimmed but throbbed like a heartbeat. He whispered, "What do you want from me?" Only the leaves answered, brushing softly in the wind. That night, no one in the village slept. Fires burned late. Voices whispered in fear. Some believed Zeus had been chosen. Others feared he had summoned danger. Zeus lay awake, staring at the shard. It no longer felt like an object. It felt alive. It felt like a companion. In dreams, he walked across skies of silver. He saw shining islands floating above the clouds. He heard the voice again and again, Skybreaker. At dawn, the villagers argued about omens, but Zeus did not join them. He sat alone by the oak, tracing the shard's edges. He understood what they could not. The storm was not a warning. It was a beginning. The first storm sign had spoken, and the boy who listened was ready to follow. For days after the first storm sign, whispers followed Zeus. The villagers spoke his name with awe, suspicion, or fear. Some avoided him, crossing the road when he passed. Others stared openly, searching his face for answers. Zeus felt the weight of every glance. He wanted to be the same boy he had always been, but everything had shifted. The shard pulsed at night, filling his dreams with voices. One evening, restless, Zeus wandered into the forest. The moon lit his path, silver and soft. He felt pulled forward, as if summoned. The forest was still, but not silent. Leaves whispered, branches creaked, owls called. It felt watchful, alive, aware of him. At last, he found a clearing with an old hut. The roof sagged, the door crooked, but light glowed within. Zeus hesitated. He should have turned back, but curiosity tugged harder than caution. He stepped forward, lifted the latch, and entered. The air smelled of smoke and herbs. Strange jars lined the walls, filled with powders and feathers. A single candle burned steady on a crooked table. In the corner sat a figure cloaked in shadow. An old man, face weathered, eyes bright as coals. He looked at Zeus as if he had been waiting. "You took your time," the man said. Zeus froze. "Do I know you?" "Not yet," the man replied. "But I know you, Skybreaker." The word made Zeus flinch. He had heard it whispered in dreams. But from this man, it sounded like truth. "Who are you?" "Call me Theron," the old man said. "I've watched the skies longer than you've lived, and I've been waiting for you." Zeus clutched the shard in his pocket. "What do you mean, waiting?" "The sky chooses rarely," Theron said softly. "But when it does, the chosen need guidance. Power without understanding is dangerous. That is where I come in." "I don't have power," Zeus insisted. "I don't even understand what's happening." "Not yet," Theron agreed. "But you will. The shard found you. The storm spoke your name, and the skies never whisper without reason." Zeus stared, torn between doubt and belief. "What do you want from me?" Theron chuckled. "Nothing, boy. It's not about what I want. It's about what the skies want from you." He rose slowly, leaning on a carved staff. "Come back tomorrow night. Bring the shard. If you wish to understand, I will show you." "Why should I trust you?" Zeus asked. "You don't have to," Theron said. "Trust the sky. It led you here." Zeus turned and left the hut. The forest felt alive, listening as he walked. Branches bent toward him like watching eyes. By dawn, he was home again. His mother saw the shadows under his eyes. She saw the tremble in his hands. But she did not question him. She only placed a hand on his shoulder. "The path has begun, hasn't it?" Zeus nodded slowly. He lay down, but sleep never came. Theron's words echoed in his mind. Asterisk. The skies never whisper without reason. Asterisk. Fear pressed heavy on his chest, but alongside it, hope began to grow. For the first time, he felt less alone. Someone understood. Someone had been waiting. The hidden mentor had appeared, and with him, the promise of answers. The next night, the sky was restless. Clouds raced above the village, their edges glowing faintly. The winds blew stronger, tugging branches and rattling shutters. It was a night that felt alive. Zeus slipped quietly from his home. The shard was warm in his pocket. His mother watched him go but said nothing. Her eyes lingered until he vanished into the trees. The forest guided him back to the crooked hut. Theron was waiting outside, staff across his knees. He looked up and nodded. "You came," Theron said. "I said I would." Zeus replied, voice trembling. "Good," Theron answered. "Tonight, the winds will test you." "Test me?" Zeus frowned. "The skies do not give freely," Theron said. "They speak only to those who can listen. Stand firm, and they will measure your spirit." He led Zeus to a clearing of ancient stones. They stood in a circle, tall and weathered. The ground inside was bare, lifeless. Zeus shivered as he stepped into the ring. The shard hummed loudly in his pocket. "This is the place of the winds," Theron said. "They care not for fear or doubt. They care only for truth." "What happens if I fail?" Zeus asked. "Then the winds will forget you," Theron said. Zeus nodded. "I'm ready." At first, nothing happened. But then, the air shifted. A low murmur rose in the trees. It grew into a rushing sound, circling the clearing. The stones vibrated as the winds began to swirl. Zeus stood at the center, hair whipping across his face. The shard glowed, silver light filling the ring. The winds whispered his name, Zeus. His knees weakened. The voices were countless, ancient and sharp. They carried weight, expectation, challenge. The gale pressed harder, trying to drive him down. Zeus braced his feet, arms outstretched. "Why me?" he shouted. "I'm just a boy." The winds howled louder, tearing tears from his eyes. The shard burned like fire in his palm. He dropped to one knee, then forced himself up. Theron's words echoed. "Stand firm, and they will know you." "I'm not strong," Zeus cried, "but I will not run. I will listen. I will endure." The winds screamed once more. Then the force shifted. It became less like a storm, more like an embrace. The pressure lifted him instead of crushing. His feet rose from the earth. The shard blazed in his hands. For a moment, he was suspended between sky and ground. Then the voices spoke as one. Skybreaker. The winds stilled. Night fell silent again. Zeus landed back on unsteady legs. The shard dimmed, but stayed warm. Theron stepped into the clearing. "You did not fall," he said. "The winds have seen you. They have accepted you." Zeus panted, but a smile tugged at his lips. "I thought they would break me." "They tried," Theron said. "And you stood." Zeus looked down at the shard in his palm. For the first time, it did not feel like a burden. It felt like a promise. The trial of winds had ended. The boy who endured was no longer just a listener. He was chosen. The days after the trial of winds passed in a haze. Zeus felt both exhausted and awake. Touched by something greater, the shard pulsed softly, steady as the heartbeat of the sky. Theron gave him no rest. Each morning, he called Zeus into the forest, away from the village. There, beneath ancient trees, the boy was tested again. But these were not trials of strength. They were trials of listening. Theron made Zeus sit still for hours. No words, no movement, only listening with the shard in his palm. "Do you hear them?" Theron asked softly. "The winds do not shout. They whisper. They reveal themselves only to patience." Zeus struggled at first. His body ached from stillness, his mind restless. He longed to run, to climb, to be like other children. But slowly, he began to notice things unseen. The breeze shifting before a bird took flight. The sigh of branches before a gust arrived. The rhythm of air, like a song without words. Sometimes he felt the winds echo his own breath, as if they lived inside him too. Theron smiled at his discoveries. "You are beginning to hear," he said. "But hearing is not enough. You must answer." One evening, Theron led Zeus to a ridge. The valley stretched below. Clouds painted crimson and violet. He handed Zeus the shard. "Tonight, you will not only listen, you will call." "Call? To what?" Zeus asked. "To the storm," Theron replied. "Every storm is alive. Every cloud has a voice. They know you now. They will answer." Zeus hesitated, clutching the shard. He looked at the vast, endless sky. His voice felt small against it. "What if they don't hear me?" he whispered. "They already do," Theron said gently. "The question is, do you believe you have something to say?" The words lingered in Zeus's chest. He closed his eyes, pressing the shard in his hands. Warmth spread through him, steady as waves. At first, nothing came. Then he remembered the trial. The winds had not broken him. They had embraced him. Zeus opened his eyes. He lifted the shard to the sky. "I am here," he whispered. The winds stirred. Faint at first. Then stronger, tugging the trees and leaves. A current wrapped around him, lifting his hair. "I'm listening," he said louder. "I am not afraid." A flash of silver lit the clouds above. The shard pulsed, beating like a second heart. The air thrummed with hidden power. Then a drop of rain touched his cheek. Another followed, then many more. The sky rumbled, spilling rain across the valley. But it was not violent. It was steady, alive, with energy. The rain seemed to sing, each drop a note. Zeus laughed, joy bursting from his chest. He spread his arms wide, letting the storm embrace him. The shard blazed with light, wind circling strong. His laughter rose with the storm, carried upward. Theron watched with quiet pride. "The storm has given you its gift," he said. "Not power over it, but harmony with it. You are not its master, Zeus. You are its brother." Zeus lowered the shard, trembling, smiling. For the first time, he did not feel small beneath the sky. He felt connected, woven into its vastness. The storm no longer felt distant. It felt like home. That night, he returned to the village. His mother looked at him differently. She said nothing, but in her silence was knowing. Zeus had changed. He carried the storm within him now. The boy who once dreamed of the skies had answered them, and the skies had answered back. The village slept beneath a calm night sky. But Zeus felt a strange heaviness in the air. The shard in his pocket pulsed faintly, restless. It was as if the winds whispered a warning. He tried to sleep, but his dreams were uneasy. In them, clouds gathered, rolling endlessly across the horizon. They were not the gentle rains of the valley. They were darker, heavier, full of silence that pressed. When Zeus woke, the weight remained in his chest. He carried it with him through the day. Even the villagers noticed the change in the air. The animals grew restless. The birds flew lower. Old men at the square frowned at the horizon. They muttered of storms unseen in years. Zeus said nothing, but the shard throbbed in his palm. That evening, he went to the forest. Theron was waiting, staff planted firmly in the ground. "You feel it too," the old man said. Zeus nodded. "It's coming, isn't it?" Theron's eyes narrowed toward the mountains. "The skies are gathering. The storm will not be gentle." Zeus swallowed hard, gripping the shard. "What do they want from me?" "They do not want," Theron replied. "They test. They reveal. They remind us of balance." "But why me?" Zeus asked. Theron looked at him long, his voice heavy. "Because the winds have chosen you." Zeus lowered his gaze, heart racing. He had dreamed of the skies since childhood, but now the skies dreamed of him. That night, thunder rolled faintly in the distance. Not loud, not close, just a low growl on the horizon. Zeus stood outside, staring into the dark. The shard glowed faintly, beating in rhythm with the thunder. His mother joined him, quiet at his side. She said nothing for a long time. Then, softly, she whispered, "Your father once watched storms this way." Zeus turned, startled. She had never spoken of him so directly. "He listened to the skies," she said. "They carried him far from here. But he never forgot." Zeus held her words like a fragile flame. Somehow, the storm no longer felt distant. It felt like a thread, tying past to present. When dawn came, clouds blanketed the sky. The village was gray, wrapped in silence. Children did not laugh, and the wells stood empty. Even the dogs barked without reason. Zeus met Theron at the ridge. Together they watched the clouds build, towering higher. "They are calling," Theron said, "and you must be ready to answer." Zeus gripped the shard tightly. The sky above was vast, restless, alive, and deep within him, he knew the storm was not only weather, it was destiny, gathering on the horizon. The valley awoke in silence the next morning. The air was cool and heavy, as though the sky itself was waiting. Zeus walked through the fields, brushing the tall grass. Dewdrops sparked faintly at his touch. Like hidden lightning, he froze, staring at his hand, the shard pulsing in his pocket. It was not frightening, but strangely familiar. Later, Theron called him to the ridge. "You felt it," the old man said firmly. The storm is no longer outside. It has touched you. Zeus nodded, his chest tight. Last night I dreamed of lightning, he whispered. It wasn't striking. It was waiting for me. Theron's eyes softened with rare approval. Lightning does not ask, he said. It calls, and those who hear it are changed. Zeus looked toward the valley below, uncertain. What if I fail them? He asked. Lightning chooses for heart, not strength alone, Theron replied. That is why it calls you, Zeus. That evening, thunder rumbled once more. The clouds circled above, vast and heavy. Zeus climbed the highest ridge, the shard glowing bright. By the summit, it pulsed like a living heart. The wind lifted, filling his lungs with fire. And then the sky split open. Lightning struck downward, but stopped short of earth. It hovered, shimmering, bending toward him. Zeus trembled, awestruck, but did not move. The lightning hummed in rhythm with his heartbeat. It wanted him to listen. Closing his eyes, he heard voices in the storm. Not words, but echoes, ancient and vast. They carried no language, yet he understood. The storm was not testing it was offering. Not a weapon, but a bond. Zeus lifted the shard high. The lightning touched it. Sky and earth united. Energy surged through him. Not pain, but power. His mind filled with visions of wind and sea. He saw storms not as chaos, but balance. When the light faded, the shard was whole. Zeus no longer felt small. His eyes gleamed with the sky's fading glow. I hear you, he whispered to the storm. Below, villagers watched in awe and fear. Theron smiled quietly, staff resting on his shoulder. The first call is answered, he murmured. And now, the true journey begins. Zeus descended as stars pierced the night sky. Each step carried purpose, not weight. The winds circled him, alive and playful. For the first time, he did not chase storms. He walked as one chosen by them. And deep within, the storm's rhythm beat steady and strong. The sky had called, and he had answered. The shard was whole now, glowing faintly in Zeus's hand. Its light pulsed, alive, echoing like thunder deep in his chest. Sometimes it filled him with warmth, other times with restlessness. A spark leapt from his fingers in the village, startling him. Children laughed at his wild hair, but elders frowned silently. The storm is within you now, Theron said calmly. You must learn to carry it, not fear it. At night, Zeus dreamed of lightning coursing through his veins. He woke with glowing hands and a racing heart. Sometimes, he longed to release it, to let it all pour out. Other times, he feared it would overwhelm him completely. One evening, his mother found him by the well. You look as though you carry the heavens, she whispered. Maybe I do, he answered with a weak smile. Your father felt the same, she continued gently. The storm inside is like fire. It can warm or burn, you decide. Her words lingered, echoing in his thoughts long after she left. Zeus wondered, was the shard alive or a mirror of his heart? Theron's advice was simple. Do not command. Do not resist. Listen. So Zeus climbed the ridge with nothing but the shard. The wind whipped hard, the storm within roaring louder. At first he fought, holding his breath, trying to control it. But the harder he fought, the stronger the storm grew. Exhausted, he finally let go and breathed deeply. The wind rushed through him, not against him. The storm was not an enemy, but a part of him. Thunder softened into a steady rhythm inside his chest. The sparks at his fingertips danced gently like fireflies. For the first time, he felt balance instead of fear. Villagers soon noticed the change in him. Children followed him eagerly, sensing his calm presence. Elders nodded with respect, watching him more closely. But balance was fragile, and power demanded care. Anger or fear stirred the storm into chaos again. Once, lightning cracked at his feet in frustration. The villagers gasped and stepped back in alarm. Zeus trembled, horrified by his loss of control. Do not fear the storm, Theron's voice rang out. Fear comes from denial. Control comes from acceptance. Ashamed, Zeus listened. The lesson struck deep. The storm could not be tamed in a single day. It demanded patience, humility, and courage every moment. That night, Zeus lay awake holding the shard. Its glow was steady now, like a heartbeat. He whispered, I will not run from you. I will learn. The storm within answered not with thunder, but silence. In the silence, Zeus felt trust for the first time. He was not alone. The storm was his companion. Dawn spread across the valley, soft and golden. Zeus knew the greatest challenge was not the storm. It was himself, and the journey had only begun. The valley looked calm, but tension filled the air. Animals moved restlessly. Villagers whispered. And Zeus felt the storm pulsing within him. The shard in his hand grew heavier each day. Its glow sharpened, brighter each night, as though impatient for release. Every time he touched it, the storm stirred inside him. Theron watched closely, his gaze fixed on the horizon. "The skies are restless," he said. "They rise not to destroy, but to awaken. This is only the beginning." Zeus wanted to believe, yet unease weighed on his chest. Clouds gathered faster now, swirling at the valley's edge. The winds whispered low, a song building toward thunder. Villagers spoke in hushed tones of omens and curses. Some feared him, others whispered he was chosen. Both voices reached Zeus, heavy with doubt and hope. One evening, he climbed the ridge. The sky darkened, though the sun still lingered. Lightning flickered faintly in the distance, like eyes awakening. He clutched the shard tight, closing his eyes. The storm rose in rhythm with his heartbeat. Suddenly, lightning tore the horizon wide open. Zeus staggered, trembling as if struck from within. The shard blazed, white-hot, pulsing with fierce energy. The storm poured into him, flooding every breath. Through the roar, voices rang clear. Not whispers, but calls, ancient and commanding. Asterisk rise, Skybreaker. The tempest awaits. Asterisk. Fear and wonder clashed inside him. Could he truly carry this burden? He thought of his mother's words, of Theron's guidance, of the villagers, torn between fear and faith. Slowly, he stood, bracing against the storm. Lightning split the sky again, but he did not flinch. It felt not like danger, but a summons. Theron appeared beside him, calm and steady. "You felt it," he said. "The tempest has risen. It will test not only your strength, but your spirit." Zeus whispered, "What if I fail?" "The storm does not offer failure," Theron replied. "It teaches until you listen. Resist, and it breaks you. Yield, and it raises you." That night, dreams carried him into storms. Waves crashed, skies split, winds roared endlessly. Yet at the center of chaos, calm waited for him. At dawn, the valley lay in shadow. The clouds rolled low, pressing heavy and vast. Villagers gathered below, eyes fixed on the ridge. The shard pulsed in Zeus's hand, alive with fire. He raised it high as the winds roared. Lightning crowned the sky, circling above him. This time, Zeus did not tremble. He whispered, steady and sure, "I am ready." The tempest answered, not with ruin, but with light. Thunder rolled, carrying his words across the valley. The villagers bowed, not in terror, but in awe. The boy who chased storms now stood as Skybreaker, a bridge between earth and sky, chosen to walk with the tempest. The storm had crowned Zeus, but it had not tested him yet. The villagers whispered of peace, but Theron knew better. The storm never gave without demanding something in return. At dawn, the winds shifted, fierce and sharp. They rattled rooftops and bent trees with their force. The valley, usually calm, trembled as if afraid. Zeus felt it before he saw it. The shard in his palm grew cold, then hot. It pulsed wildly, as if it wanted to escape. The storm inside him beat like wings in a cage. "Your trial comes," Theron said gravely. "The winds have chosen. You must face them." Zeus asked, "Face them? How?" "Not by strength," Theron replied. "By listening, by yielding, by standing where others fall." So Zeus climbed once more to the ridge. The sky was gray, clouds rolling endlessly. The winds tore at his cloak, stinging his eyes. This was not thunder or rain, only wind, relentless, invisible, unstoppable. At first, Zeus tried to fight it. He dug his feet into the earth. The harder he resisted, the stronger it pressed. His breath came ragged, his body bent low, his mind screamed, "Asterisk, you cannot hold this! Asterisk!" Then Theron's words echoed in him. Not by strength, by listening. Zeus closed his eyes against the gale. Instead of resisting, he leaned into it. He swayed but did not break. And slowly, he heard something beyond the roar. A pattern, a rhythm, a song. The wind was alive, and it was speaking. Each gust had purpose, each rush a meaning. Zeus loosened his grip on the shard. It glowed softly, pulsing in harmony. The storm inside him flowed free. He opened his arms wide to the sky. The wind did not knock him down. It carried him, steady and strong. For a moment, he felt as if flying. The trial was not about resistance. It was about trust. From below, villagers watched in awe. To them, Zeus stood at the storm's center, but he knew he was bowing to it. Hours passed like fleeting moments. The winds calmed into a gentle breeze. The shard dimmed, steady as a heartbeat. Zeus lowered his arms, trembling with exhaustion, but his spirit stood tall, stronger than ever. Theron climbed to meet him. You listened. That is why you stand. Zeus nodded with a tired smile. It wasn't about defeating. It was about learning. Theron tapped his staff on the ground. Strength without wisdom is wasted. The winds gave you balance. The next trial will ask for more. That night, the valley slept in peace. The villagers whispered no longer of curses. They spoke of hope, soft and steady. Zeus lay beneath the stars, calm inside. The storm was no longer an enemy. It was a companion, breathing with him. Still, he knew this was only the beginning. The storm would rise again, fiercer than before. And when it did, he would need more than balance. He would need courage, faith, and an unshaken heart. A heart strong enough to walk into the tempest without fear. The valley rested after the trial of winds, but the sky did not. Clouds gathered again, thick and heavy, hiding something vast behind their veils. Even the air felt charged, humming like invisible strings of a harp. Zeus could not sleep, the shard warm against his chest each night. The storm within him no longer screamed. It waited, steady and patient. Then one night, the silence broke with a sound like distant drums. It was not thunder, but something older, deeper, calling his name. He rose quickly, clutching the shard as it pulsed like a heartbeat. The glow quickened with every step toward the ridge. At dawn, the sky towered with black clouds burning at the edges. The villagers watched in awe and dread as whispers spread like fire. Theron met Zeus at the village's edge, calm yet trembling. You hear it, don't you? The old man asked softly. Zeus nodded. The thunder is calling. It is the sky's voice, Theron replied. Few hear it, fewer answer. Zeus's heart pounded, torn between safety and destiny. But deep within, he knew the truth. He had to go. I will answer, he said with certainty. Theron's eyes softened. Then the path is yours. Walk with the storm. The climb felt like a pilgrimage, each step sacred and certain. At the summit, the storm revealed itself in a vast, swirling sea. Lightning danced inside the clouds, weaving endless patterns of light. Thunder rolled again, not as sound but as a living voice. Asterisk, come, Skybreaker. Step into the storm. Asterisk. Zeus raised the shard high as it blazed brighter than ever. The clouds opened. A great door of light above him. Wind surged, pulling at his hair and cloak. The villagers gasped below, fearing he'd be swallowed whole. But Zeus did not waver. He stepped into the storm. Inside was endless white, silence broken by thunder's voice. The sound wrapped around him, filling every part of his being. The shard dissolved into sparks, sinking into his chest. He was no longer carrying the shard, he had become it. Visions flashed, seas rising, skies splitting, fields blooming, rivers flowing. The storm was both destruction and creation, renewal, balance, life. Zeus fell to his knees, tears in his eyes, but unafraid. He accepted it all, the fury and the gift. The thunder softened into a deep, steady hum. The clouds parted, leaving the sky clear and calm. Zeus stood on the ridge, the storm alive within him. The villagers stared, silent, unable to look away. Zeus raised his voice, steady, and certain. I have heard the call of thunder, and I will answer. No cheers followed. No cries, only silence. Listening. And for the first time, Zeus felt not like a boy chasing the skies, but a man walking beside them.